In 2010, Dreamworks blessed us all with a timeless classic known as Megamind. But, as it turns out, everyone back in these ancient times had only reached the second stage of human evolution and were unable to truly appreciate this masterpiece. It was only after many long years of cognitive development that allowed for the human brain to truly grasp the genius of this film. Eventually, the world's greatest minds were caught assembling on many occasions to discuss the brilliance of this revolutionary work, and the news spread like wildfire. Almost overnight, the consensus completely changed, and the rest is history. Megamind became the global phenomenon it was always destined to be. Human society flourished, and world peace had been achieved. Years later, there was a disturbance. A group of rabble-rousers had enough of the tranquil world they lived in. They devised such a dreadful scheme that I must say, I was a little impressed. They decided to target the source of our culture, what really made us human. They decided to tarnish Megamind. The plan was simple. These scandalmongers broke into DreamWorks HQ and kidnapped Shrek, leaving a ransom note in Steven Spielberg's office. What did they request? The rights to the Megamind IP. Spielberg's hands were tied. He had no choice but to give the punks what they wanted. He couldn't have known that they were planning a sequel that would shake the world to its very core. From there, it was smooth sailing for the group who called themselves the Doom Syndicate. All they had to do was build a time machine, travel all the way back to 2010, and round up a crew of fools who had just seen Megamind and hated it. They gave these lost souls ancient animation technology and told them to create a sequel with the Doom Syndicate as the villains. The crew of fools obliged, stripping the character and universe of everything they disliked, leaving the sequel nothing but a shell of its former glory. The Syndicate was extremely pleased with what the crew had made, and released a trailer in the modern day to ensure its failure. The world was outraged, turning the once united peaceful planet into a chaotic mess, all before the official release. The Doom Syndicate's plan had already succeeded. When the movie was finally released, any remaining sense of order or unity was completely destroyed, and the years of human prosperity came to a bitter end. Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate is a putrid reminder of why DreamWorks is dying. This movie is a disgrace to the studio, and especially the Megamind IP. The first thing you'll notice about this movie is the super cheap animation, which resembles a Disney Junior show. I don't care if the original plan was to make this a series, this quality of animation from a massive studio on a beloved property is unacceptable. But you know what? I'm confident in saying that the animation is the strongest aspect of this movie. Every single detail is a spit in the face. This is not a sequel. This is a hatefully conceived work of garbage that drops a massive deuce on everything its source material stands for. I am certain that I could find something terrible from every scene in the movie if I tried, and I'm sure some people would want that, but I just don't have the willpower. Instead, I'm going to carefully explain how everything in this movie is awful. None of the original voice actors returned for this, and I totally understand why. The performances from the new actors aren't that bad in a vacuum, but they just simply do not compare to the original. The combination of the Dollar General animation with worse voice acting already makes it seem like these are not the same characters from the first film. And spoiler alert, they're not written even remotely similar to the original characters. The writers and director probably just looked up a short Megamind summary on Bing and wrote the plot for this movie based on that. Our beloved characters and their relationships with one another are butchered beyond recognition, acting like the events of the first movie never happened. Minion, who is now old chum, and Megamind just repeat the exact arc that they had in the first movie, except it sucks and makes no sense. The trailer for the original Megamind shows his parents giving him Minion and calling him his sidekick in the first 10 seconds, and yet the writers pretend like Megamind doesn't care about Minion. They didn't even bother to watch the trailer, let alone the movie they made a sequel to. Minion is his sidekick or assistant who was given to Megamind by his parents specifically to look after him. And, like I said, they already did this arc in the first movie, except the motivations made sense and Minion wasn't treated like a slave. And as if that wasn't bad enough, the relationship between Roxanne and Megamind is ruined, with the characters treating each other like co-workers. They have such an entertaining dynamic in the original, and it's completely dissolved for no reason. Not only that, but an insufferable middle school YouTuber is added to every scene they're in. Which brings me to my next point, the miserable character design. Megamind, Roxanne, and Minion are all just cheaper versions of themselves, but the design of the Doom Syndicate is just pathetic. I don't remember any of their names, but I'm going to try and describe them all. The Storm Lady's outfit is boring and ugly. The superhero Fortnite skins are more detailed and memorable than the dress she's wearing. The design of the French mime Hypno guy is incredibly generic, and the Night Knight is overly complicated. The Lava guy is the only well-designed character in this entire movie, but it's wasted with this gross animation. There is no variation whatsoever in anyone's appearance. They all just have the same fit, even though the movie takes place over multiple days. But maybe their time and effort went into making everything else look really good. There are also several glaring continuity errors that are just the icing on this hair cake. I don't even need to talk about the plot because everyone watching this video has seen a movie with this exact plot. Our reformed hero encounters his old negative influences and ends up going south. The villains threaten the city and the lives of thousands, and our hero saves the day with the help of a reporter and a middle school YouTuber with a baseball bat. What I'm really itching to talk about, though, is the writing. I've seen some bad movies, but few, or maybe none, are in this tier of bad writing. Every single scene is poorly written. There is not one moment in this 85-minute extravaganza that is well written. One of my personal favorite examples of this is the classic scene where Megamind first runs into the Doom Syndicate. There is not one good line of dialogue in this scene, and Megamind and Roxanne both do the trope where they walk in a room talking and don't look up, and they excuse themselves from the conversation twice in the same scene. And that doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of how miserably written this movie is. There are too many leaps in logic and instances of cringeworthy dialogue to count, and mentioning every bit of incompetence in this movie would be harder than counting every single grain of sand at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Please, for the love of everything that is holy, do not watch this movie. I am begging you all to not let your curiosity get the best of you, because if enough people do, we will continue to get movies like this from huge animation studios. This movie is boring, unfunny, and lazy. Don't waste your time. Go outside, connect with your friends and family, make something. Just please do not watch this uninspired trash. Thank you.